Hey everyone, my name's Jason. I'm the community manager at Nuggets Entertainment, and we're working on our little farming game called Among the Wild. If you haven't seen the trailer for it yet, do check it out up here. It's very cool, cute little creatures. It's very nice. This is just a little devlog, bit of an update. First of all, apologies for not doing an update sooner. It's been quite a while since we've done one, but we have actually been back at work since the beginning of January after the holiday period, and we've been hard at work, fixing up the game. Basically, since then, we've been taking feedback from the closed alpha Discord, and also other testers who've played the game, and then also within ourselves as well, been going through a bunch of feedback that we have ourselves personally for what we want in the game as well. And we've basically been coming up with a bunch of plans for what we want to do and what we sort of see for the game, essentially. And that's kind of what I want to talk with you all about today, is some of those changes. Obviously, those of you who aren't in the closed alpha, it's going to be a little hard to kind of follow some of those changes, but it might still be interesting to follow along anyway. I'll try and make it as understandable as possible. But also the other thing that I want to do in today's video is show off a bunch of just new stuff, like tech stuff or features that any of you can probably just appreciate whether you're in the closed alpha or not. You might just think they're cool. I don't know. Okay. But before I get into those, there's a little bit of housekeeping I want to do, and that is regarding alpha keys. I know many of you are probably checking your email addresses, looking for your key, getting disappointed every day. Where's my key? I'm sorry. I know that sucks, but we haven't sent out any more keys yet because we're waiting to get a new build of the game with the new stuff in it. And we want to wait until we have that because we want new people who come in to have their first impression on the new version of the game and not their first impression on the old version that we're already changing. You know what I mean? So we're basically waiting until that's up and running, and then we'll send out another wave of keys. I don't know when that is just yet, but we'll make another video about it. We'll make some noise and all that kind of stuff and let you know, okay? But up until now, the closed alpha has been held on Steam, and people who got into the closed alpha got a Steam key to play the closed alpha on Steam. But now, and I know there's probably a lot of people who know me that are shaking in their boots right now. Jace, where is this going? But now the closed alpha is also being held on the Epic Games Store. It's being held on both, okay? But people who get into the closed alpha can only be on one or the other. So right now, if you get into the closed alpha, you either get a Steam key or you get an Epic Games Store key, and then you play the closed alpha on whatever platform that is. You get to choose which one you want to do, right? So up until now, Steam has been the only platform for the closed alpha. And so what we have chosen to do is that everyone who has signed up, we have defaulted all of your preferences for what platform you want to do the closed alpha on. We've defaulted that to Steam. So if you signed up and you want to do the closed alpha on Steam, you don't have to do anything else. But if you signed up for the closed alpha and you want to do the closed alpha on the Epic Games Store, you will actually have to change your preferences. And the way you do this is you go to the amongthewildgame.com website, our website where you signed up for the closed alpha, put in your email address that you used to sign up, select the closed alpha giveaway again, make sure it's selected, otherwise you will unsubscribe from the alpha giveaway. And then there's also a couple fields there that you can choose whether or not you want the Epic Games Store key or the Steam key, essentially. And then submit that, go through the whole email verification process again, and then your preferences will be updated, okay? And that's basically it. That's all you need to do. And that's housekeeping out of the way. Let's get into the fun stuff. So we took a bunch of feedback from all sorts of people from all over the place, and there's a few large areas of the game that we think that needs a little bit more attention. And the first one is a recurring bit of feedback that is fairly pervasive across the entire game, and that is that there just needs to be a bit more clarity in the game in general. And when I say clarity, I mean clarity in every sense of the word, right? This could mean what button should I push for something, or what does a creature do, or what should I be doing next, right? Like it could be anything. And this is somewhat understandable, given that the game is still very much work in progress and it's the earlier stages, and we don't put a lot of that clarity in just yet, but it's clearly an issue for some of the testers, and so it's something that we want to take into consideration and make some changes for. So that's something that we're going to be working a little bit towards, and through the next few points that we talk about, you'll hear that basically this clarity issue is kind of baked into them as well. So the next thing that we heard was that there's just generally, you could probably describe it as pacing issues or players feeling overwhelmed, either overwhelmed or not sure what to do. And that's pacing issues. And so right now the game is a sandbox game where you can kind of just choose to do whatever you want to do, and we like that, and we want that. But we do think that there's just not enough direction, not enough clarity, at least not in the beginning, at least, such that people kind of get lost and not really sure. They don't get the momentum they need to stand on their own 2 feet in some cases, basically. So what we would like to do is add a little bit more direction to the game, and we think that sandbox is important because it's core to the game. It's important, we think, for people to be able to get creative with how they play the game, and giving people the ability to learn things on their own is important. I think it's pretty empowering, and I think it's a nice feeling when you learn something yourself. But again, it's finding that balance between letting the player learn things themselves, but also making sure that we're covering our bases to make things not stupidly obscure or something like that. Okay, so yeah. And then another thing that we've noticed in terms of like pacing is that the game is too hard, too deadly. The environment is too deadly in some cases, especially in the beginning. So we kind of want to dial that back a little bit so that people can focus a little bit more on getting settled into the game and getting connected to the game loop before things get kind of scary or deadly, I suppose. The next area that we got a lot of feedback on is creature wrangling, which makes sense. The creature wrangling is an important part of the game. People who haven't played Among the Wild probably won't really know or understand much of what's involved with this, because it's very like you have to play it to see it, right? But effectively, the feedback that we can talk about today is that the creatures need some balancing. Starting creatures need to be a little bit easier to handle, we think, so that it's not so hard to get started in the game. But then also late game farms need to be a little bit less chaotic as well. We've found this thing that the longer you play, the less you can do, which is the opposite like curve in the game, right? You would think that the more you play, the more you can do, but you end up amassing so many creatures that need so much micromanaging and they become too demanding that you're just not able to do anything else in the game. It gets to that point. So this is obviously like not the right balance here for creatures. So there's rebalance stuff that can be done to address this, but there's also like different kind of systems and things like that we want to introduce that will hopefully help players have a sense of peace of mind around their creatures. Once the creature's needs and preferences are met, that the player can then feel as though I can go and explore, I can do other things, I don't need to stay here all the time, and so we're making some changes in regards to that as well. And one of those changes is also like mood related stuff, and actually I can show you the diagram of the new mood system. Here it is. As you can see, it's very well thought through, I'm sure, very clear. I'm just kidding, I have no idea what this is. If any of you can decipher it, let me know in the comments. Please decipher it. I would like to hear your interpretation of what this mood system is. Let me know in the comments down below, please, because I have no idea what they're planning. There's only one way to find out. Time will tell. Anyway, like a lot of these ambiguities, and including ambiguities around the creatures, it's actually part of the game. Like we do want some of it to be intentionally ambiguous, because we want these creatures to feel a little bit magical, that when you discover something with them, you're like, oh, cool, this happens, We want that to be part of the game, but it is all about balance, and we have to make sure things are clear. That's it, okay? So through the feedback that we're getting from the community, thank you so much for that feedback, and with that continued feedback, I know we're going to get there. The final general bit of feedback that we got is that there's a lack of purpose in general, and when we say this can mean like, purpose in terms of what should I do next, but also like larger things of purpose of like, why am I here at all? Like, who are these people? Who am I in the game? What is the point of it all? Kind of existential stuff. And so on the smaller scale, there are some changes in terms of giving the player more immediate goals. So they've got more purpose. So at any given moment, they're like, oh, I'm working towards something here and there, right? And there are some changes here that are really big and some that are small. I can't talk about all of them. One small example that I can talk about, though, are these cute little order boxes here. So basically, there's just these orders that are put out, and you can go and fill them up with like whatever crops that are needed or whatever items that are needed. And then it's super satisfying when you do, and then the boxes get packed away and shipped off, and you make some money, right? So this is just like one little example of giving some purpose, but there are some other bigger examples that I can't mention. Another area of the game that is being worked on to give more purpose is the world building and narrative side of the game. So fleshing out the characters a little bit more, fleshing out the setting a little bit more, who you are, why you are where you are, you know, who needs your help or whatever. So again, like even if you have your own personal goals on the farm, there's a larger, bigger picture that you're hopefully somewhat invested in and that you hopefully kind of want to engage with as well, and they can be like your own little goals that you can go and engage with when you want to as well. So that's actually something that I've been working on personally. I've been doing a lot of writing for that, and it's been super fun, and I really love, well, I'm biased, I really love what I've done so far. Hopefully people who test it will enjoy it too. Okay, and then let's get into the leaks. I'm leaking content here, folks. I'm leaking game stuff. They don't know I'm putting this in the video. I wanted to show off some new features that are actually in the game right now. Well, not right now, not in the published version, the public, or the alpha version, but that we're working on. And the first is this new tree cutting prototype system that ML, our game designer, has been working on, and this is super sick. So first of all, here's the old trees, right? And you would cut them down, pretty cool. They would fall over. They're kind of like split up into 3 segments, and you cut each of those segments and you get wood for it. We've seen this kind of thing in like Valheim and whatnot. But now we have this new tree cutting 5000 technology where when you cut it, it actually chunks wood out of the tree. The mesh deforms, right? And then the tree falls in a bit more of a predictable fashion. And then you can cut it up, and it cuts, like it separates the tree where you cut it. It's super sick. It's super cool. So I think this is super nice. And then as you continue to cut it into smaller pieces, it turns into wood and you pick it up. So this is essentially the same stuff as before, but it's additional polish that's really, really nice and really satisfying. So great job to ML. Say thanks, ML, helps a lot in the comments below. Let him feel the love. But you know what? That's not the only thing that got this treatment. Simon has actually been pretty busy with this kind of stuff too, but not with trees, but with rocks and pickaxes. So you can actually mine rocks, and here's the same kind of thing where we deform the rock, chunks of the rock gets cut out, and you pick up little chunks as you mine it now, and then when it gets to a certain point, it sort of crumbles into smaller pieces. And again, very satisfying, super cool. I really like this. I really am a fan of this. Very impressed by both of what they've done. So you can leave a thanks, Simon, helps a lot as well in the comments. Simon has also been doing more work on making critters feel more alive in the world. Now, critters are different to creatures. So creatures are the ballers and things like that, right? The critters are like butterflies or fish or little beetles that run on the ground or whatever. And so Simon's been doing some stuff to make those feel a little bit more alive, a little bit more dynamic. So the first one is these butterflies. They actually spawn on trees now. They're not just randomly in the air. I mean, they might be, but they also spawn on trees, and you can see them flapping their wings on trees. And then when you get closer, they all fly off. And actually, it might have been hard to see it in the previous version, but here's a version on a test level, and it's much easier to see the butterflies that are resting on the tree there. And then you get closer, and also he can pet the butterfly. And yeah, you can see here there's like little beetles here that are like running along the ground. That's really cool too. And then this next part here is fish. Fish boids, they're called basically, and basically they're simulating like flock-like behavior. So all the fish are kind of like working together to stay near each other but not on top of each other kind of thing, and they just kind of look like fish. It's up in the air right now because we haven't actually implemented this in any lakes right now, but the tech is there, just about ready to go, and then we'll put it into bodies of water later, and they will sort of just stay within the water and simulate like a flock of fish, basically. I guess a school of fish, yeah. Next up is Igor. Igor is a character in the game, and this is what they used to look like, and Marie has given them a facelift, and look how happy they are about it. Here's Igor now, is super happy, so that's very nice. And then the last thing that I want to show you all is that the scythe has actually gotten a bit more purpose. So the scythe is one of the many tools that you have in the game. So there's pickaxes and you know axes and stuff like that. There's a scythe as well. Scythe didn't have much purpose before. It couldn't cut tall grass before, so now there's a bit more tall grass in the game, and the scythe now cuts that, and it's really, really satisfying. On top of that, we've had other tech-related improvements as well. So we've got an engine upgrade planned There's new world generation tech that's gone into the game, and also other sort of more internal stuff that Marcus, one of our programmers, has been working on to help build the game quicker and things like that. So we've all been really, really busy. Fun stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to hear what you think about these changes. If you are not in the closed alpha, please comment below what you make of these changes, if they made any sense to you at all. Let me know if this video is even okay, because I know, again, if you're not in the closed alpha, does this video even make sense to you? I'm not sure if it was even hard to follow. Please let me know your thoughts, your feedback, any of that stuff in the comments below. Would really, really appreciate it. Those of you who are in the closed alpha, leave your thoughts on the closed alpha Discord. Leave that over there. And if you don't know where that is, it's in the email that you got. So you should be able to join, okay? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't signed up for the closed alpha, you can do that at amongthewildgame.com. And if you haven't wishlisted the game, consider doing that over on Steam. Link in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and bye, everyone. Take care.